Welcome to the Random Podcast with Raffy and Chandra. Random Podcast with Raffy and Chandra. Yay! We've got audience cheer, of course. And today we have another guest interview, this time with Bryan Quah from Samsung.
Hey.
Now, Bryan and I met last year because we were trying to figure out his title just then, actually, because I've asked him and he just goes, well, that's my title, but it's really not. It depends what you mean. And it is Regional Community Manager for Samsung members, which is kind of like the enthusiast slash, is that what you describe Samsung members as? Like the enthusiasts of Samsung?
So, Samsung members is basically fans of Samsung, right? And then, of course, you have people like you, who are Samsung member stars, who are basically the creme de la creme, right? The 1% of Samsung fans that spend way too much time on the app, which we absolutely love. And we appreciate all of you as well.
Well, welcome to the podcast anyway, Bryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I say anyway because like Chandra's rolling eyes, going, "Damn it, should be Apple."
Yeah, I don't know. Apple never does this. It's terrible. I get zero recognition for converting other people to Apple. Whereas I always see like Raffy with his cool little, Samsung swag.
And traveling around the world, and he gets more swag, and then
Exactly.
Where's the fruits?
Like I'm trying to buy your product, but I can't.
So genuinely, the other day, I went over to my parents' place, and I didn't tell my dad I was coming, and I walk in, and I have like a key to my parents' house. I walk in, and he's like woken up, and he's just like rubbing his eyes, going, "What? What are you doing here? How did you get in?" And like in Korea, there was like 2 T-shirts. I gave him one, so he was like asleep in Samsung members gear.
Beautiful.
The irony is that he is literally the only person in the family that uses an iPhone because he just can't figure out how to switch. But he's like Samsung from like waist up, iPhone in his pockets.
That's the beauty of it, eh?
That's why his phone keeps blowing up.
But anyway, I was going to say, I met Bryan last year during the Unpacked event in Singapore, which Bryan was intimately involved in organizing and doing essentially the brainstorming for. And that was my very first ever tech launch, which was weirdly a bucket list item that I ended like Chandra and I were having like an end of year review going, what's the ridiculous things that we want to do? I want to go to a tech launch. And that was literally the first week of January when we were in Norfolk Island. And the week out, like 3 weeks after, Silky was messaging about that. So again, I've said it multiple times, but thank you. You let me tick off like a bucket list item way quicker than I was ever imagining.
No worries.
I just thought for context in terms of your background and everything else, I'd let Chandra do this, which is just a rapid fire thing of, where you were born, where you grew up, background to life story, and then we'll get started with a proper podcast.
Sure.
Yeah. So Bryan, why don't you give us a little bit of context, like whereabouts were you born, and whereabouts did you grow up?
Sure. That's a very great question to start, I guess. So
take us to the start.
Yeah. So for context, I'm living in Singapore right now, but I was actually born in the U.S. Actually, right in San Jose, which was the most recent Unpacked event. So it was good going home. So I was born there. I stayed there for a couple years. About a wee kid when I moved back to Singapore. So I stayed in Singapore pretty much for my entire childhood, and then I actually moved to WA for university.
WA represent.
Exactly. Even getting to WA was also a journey in a bit, but that's for another, I guess, for a later period of time.
What led to WA?
So funnily enough, I initially planned on staying in Singapore for university, but I visited some friends who came over from WA, visited them, spent about a week and a half, and it just kind of felt right for me to move over. I don't know how else to explain it, but it just felt right for me to move over to WA. So went back to Singapore and I immediately told my folks, I think I'm not supposed to be in Singapore. I think WA is calling for me. So I went to apply for universities, and at that point in time, this is like April, okay? So imagine this. In March, right, I finished Army in Singapore because conscription, right? So I finished Army in Singapore in March. I go over to Perth in April, right, and the new university semester for Sem 2 starts in August. Typically, it's literally impossible for you to get
you'd
in.
have to wait.
Exactly, you have to wait until next year, right? Which would be, that means I'll be out of school or out of Army for like 7 months, right? And which is my parents are like, oh, you're supposed to be in university. Stop wasting time. Stop being a bum. But by some miracle, I applied. I actually got through a bridging program. So I'm not sure if you know Taylor's College. So Taylor's College runs like a bridging program, basically.
Okay,
So you can either do like a foundation, or you could do like the first year of university in like 8 months, so an accelerated course. So I applied, and I applied to the universities first. All the universities were like, nope, you're too late. Wait until next sem.
Try again.
But I found this bridging course, got in, and I flew to Perth, got my accommodation settled, got my visa settled, got everything settled from April to June.
Nice. So move countries, damn done. You're like, I like this place, I'm gonna go. And 2 months later, you're here.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Was there anything that you can now, in retrospect, go, that's what made Perth feel like, yeah, I need to be there?
So, I'm Christian, right? And I don't want to delve too much into the religious aspect of it, but for me, it just felt kind of like God was telling me that I had to be in Perth, that it was my time to go in Perth and spend some time there. In retrospect, from the religious standpoint, right, it was like, I went to Perth and eventually started doing like cell groups in university. And then on top of that, I was actually part of the Red Frog crew, which, have you guys heard of it?
No.
So the Red Frog crew is a non-for-profit organization in
Red
Australia.
Frog,
actually.
as in like
the candy, like the lolly. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. That's what I was like, have I misheard this?
No. It's literally the lolly. Alan's is one of the major sponsors for the non-for-profit because so the core of the Red Frog crew is that they actually go to schoolies. Right? So they go to schoolies, they go to leavers, and they basically are kind of like the group of people which takes care of all the high school kids which go absolutely nuts. Right, so we go to schoolies, we go to leavers, and we basically cook pancakes, cook hot dogs, have hydration stations. We give out, of course, red frogs, just to make sure that kids are partying safely. Right, we're not there as like enforcers, we're not there as like police, but we're just there to be a friend. Right, and so they do this. They're still doing it, and they also do it in universities, and they also, I think, do it at sporting events. So like some of the cricket events, they spray people with water. They give out once again lollies, hot dogs, and all this is all free as well.
I think I saw you just at the Tay concert the other day doing the same thing. You were just here. Why didn't you say hi?
Probably just another random agency. Man. Come on.
Good excuse, kid. It's like, hi, I'm here with water.
Yeah, no, but the thing is that amongst the people who go to schoolies, right? Like they all recognize this, right? Yep. We wear just the one shirt, and they recognize us like that. And they're like, "Hey, you saved me!" I'm like, "No, I didn't. It's probably another guy in a red frog shirt." But yeah,
sure, that'll do.
That's cool.
No, but it is really, really cool. And my time in Perth was really a special one. And in retrospect, I also did meet my wife there, so wins all around.
And were you in Perth for a while? Or?
So I was in Perth for 2.5 years. So like I said, it was. I really, really, really wish that it was longer, but I think for the 2.5 years it was really, really jam packed, and it was absolutely crazy, in the best possible way, I guess. So I was there from June of 2015, and came back in like December of 2017. No,
which actually
18.
means that we both crossed paths because Chandra was there up until I think 2016, and I took over from 2016 till mid 2016 is when I moved back. So we would have actually been at the cafes and whatnot at some point.
Probably, and I know you stayed around my area as well, right? You're in Subi.
I was in Subi.
Were you in Subi as well?
Yeah.
No, I mean I was at Crawley, right? I was on campus.
Yep. Oh, that's right, because that's just around the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, we could have been very different friends. What did you do at uni, by the way?
So I studied marketing and HR. I know it's a very unique twist, but because so when I did my internships before uni, I interned at this company called Razer. So it's a gaming brand, right? And at that point in time, I wasn't interning for a specific thing, but they parked me under the product marketing department. And from there, that really kind of just changed my perspective because before that, I was planning on doing architecture.
Oh,
That's a bit different.
Yeah. So because of that one internship, which I got through gaming with just a mate of mine, so I kind of changed my perspective and I was like, hey, marketing may be actually the thing I want to do. But I
for
also
any
knew I
parents,
wanted. Well,
it's like for any parents listening, let your kids game. See what this leads to.
Leads to
no, it's
jobs,
true.
job creation, play computer
Yeah,
games.
they were like there was like there's this saying, right, don't talk to strangers, right? But I mean it's the complete opposite when it comes to gaming. I talked to a random stranger who ended up being a really good friend and got me a freaking internship into Razer, which is one of the biggest gaming brands in the world, right? I mean, who knew? I'm literally the
Yeah, there you go.
MVP since the like parents responsibilities to do for their kids, man. Like, don't talk to strangers. I talk to strangers. Don't accept random things from strangers. Like, they accepted an internship from a stranger. But it's literally changed my
If you
course.
don't take candy from a stranger.
Exactly. I mean, okay, I didn't take candy unless the candy
I
is
think
called
he was the
Go
stranger
Job.
giving the candy.
This is true.
But yeah, so
But that thing changed. Yeah.
because of that, I did marketing in uni, and then HR was more of like I love people, as Raffy would be able to tell you. Absolutely love building connections with people, and I thought like HR was kind of like the right path. And so I wanted to see what I could do to marry both of them together. So when I actually went back to Razer, that's when they hooked me up with. They were like, "Look, your degree is unique. Your likes are unique. Why don't you try this role called a community manager?" I'm like, "So I'm a manager when I first started." It's like, no. Here's what it is, right? And if you're talking about twists and turns in life, that's definitely one of the bigger ones.
So
What was the twist there?
what sort
Yeah.
of drew you into that sort of unique magic? Like, did you, when you heard about it, were you like, oh, that sounds like something I'd like, or was it just like, I have no idea, let me give it a crack?
No, it was literally I have no idea what it kind of was, but then, well, not really, not no idea because I mean when you game, right? Especially for some of the bigger games, so like League of Legends, Destiny 2, community managers are kind of like the face of the game for the company, right? And they're the ones interacting with the players. They're the ones going on Reddit and responding to comments, and really engaging with the players. So I already knew kind of what a community manager was, but Razer really extended their hand to me and was like, "Hey, look, we're giving you a shot. Do you wanna try this? We want to find out what's the right role for you." Right, and they kind of was able to marry the two things that I liked, which was marketing plus communications of people, right, which is community management. Yeah,
Right.
so
So Razer seems to have really wanted you back as part of the company in any way, shape, or form. From the sound of it, it's like let's find where you fit rather than do we actually need you versus another candidate. How did that come
so
about, or what's the story there? Because it feels like that's not usually like what how a multinational gaming company responds. One assumes, but I don't know. I haven't been played. You know.
yeah, no, I think it was the unique fact that I started interning with them back when I was in freaking high school before I went into the army. Right, so I did two internships with them, and during that time, I think they kind of got to know me as a person, right? I like to think that I made a positive impact on their impressions. So when I went the first time, they I think I was the youngest intern at that point in
Oh.
time, because it's like they only usually take like university students or like polytechnic students. Um, so they were giving me a shot as a high school student, right? So they
Kind of cool.
gave that to me, and I think they just wanted to give me the opportunity as well because I did not only one internship, I did two internships with them, right? And they were like, "Well, once you're done with university, you can come back and knock on our doors, and we'll see what's available." So I think it was kind of like stars aligning as well. The fact that like the community manager role was open as well. If not, I probably would have gone back to product marketing and then maybe doing something completely different or similar, but in a different shape.
Well, that's what the podcast is all about, these sliding door moments that end up defining like where you end up. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
No. It's a great story, and I love sharing it, right? Because a lot of parents, and I'm not even kidding, right? A lot of parents are like, "Oh, games suck," stop spending so much time on your PC. That's literally what got me into this path of community management, and I've been doing it for what 5, 6 years now, right? And it's really got me. It's given me so many different opportunities. So definitely an advocate for gaming. Keep parents let your kids game.
Have you seen that
Moral of the story.
meme? Have you seen that meme, which was like it's like late '90s? Don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to people on the internet. And it's like 2000s. Call strangers from the internet. Get into their car, and that's Uber.
Exactly, right? I mean, things are rapidly changing, and I don't think it's all for worse, right? It's actually for better in most cases.
Mm. Yeah, that's true, and I suppose kind of shows that by and large people are like on balance more trustworthy than you think. Where the old model was like everyone is distrust everyone before you get to trust, which survivally probably the better thing to do, but somehow having an app makes that the opposite.
No, just trust everything blindly.
Yeah, no, like, my wife and I are like completely opposites of each other, right? So I'm the guy that goes to an event, says hi to everyone, shakes hands with everyone, makes conversations with everyone, and she's like the one that goes to the event, picks up a glass of water or something like that, and stands in the corner, and like, yep, I'm gonna do this myself. But so sometimes when I'm like inviting people to the house, it's like, oh, so how long have you known this guy for? It's like, oh, we just met like last week. And she's like, and you're inviting them to our house? How does that work?
Okay,
Why is
that
this strange Raffy guy coming over? He looks strange. He looks dodgy. It looks
Exactly.
like a bit of a
He actually
like
lives
terrorist, or
he actually lives not too far from my in-laws. So.
Yeah, but I think it's the random invites as well, right? I mean, you never know who's behind the door unless you open the door, right?
meet some cool people.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
one question that comes out of that is that you guys obviously met at uni, you and your wife, and you clearly had very different personalities. Like, not an avenue I was like hoping to explore at all. But like, how did that like work for you? Because it obviously seems like you're the socialite. She's more like me and a hermit. So
You a hermit? Come on, don't lie to yourself, right? Okay, so so that story is interesting because both of us met in on campus. We met rather in the same dormitories, right? So we both as international students, we typically, well, I'll say it's a good 50 or 60-40 split, where 60 of us go and stays on campus because I think UWA has 5 different residencies for you to stay at. Oh, is it 6 now? Well, it used to be 5, right? So Uni Hall was the dorm which I was in, and that's like supposedly the most international one, or it was back then. Once again, and this is all like back in 2015, right?
Back in your day.
9 years ago. Can't believe it.
No. 2015. That was like a year ago. Like, I mean, COVID never
just last
happened.
year.
Everyone knows it's like, yeah, it's just been a few months of a pandemic. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. Poke however you like. I'm not lying to myself, man. But yeah, back in 2015, that was like the international residencies to stay on. So we stayed on there. So I moved in June 2015. She came in the 2016 batch. So when she came, I was I was organizing like orientations and stuff like that. So that's how we initially got to meet each other through college, through residencies. Yeah. How did that work?
It's like two different energies, right?
So yeah. But I mean, like,
was it opposites attract?
Without sounding too racist, I guess. Like, Singaporeans, when you see each other, they connect, right?
Now, listeners, he said it, not us.
We're like, hey, it's a Singaporean. Let's go say hi. That kind of thing.
Talk about Ion. Geez, Orchard Road was busy the other day.
I know. No, that's true. I mean, typically speaking, I think the regular, or even if you take it out of context, right? Even if it's not Singaporean, right? If it's another fellow countryman that you see, across the ocean, you're definitely going to go up and say hi, especially if you're going to be seeing them for the next 2 years or so. Right? Right? Come on, give me some credit. I'm not bad.
Yeah. I mean, hey, like, I mean, we've established that, you know, you are the social butterfly, right? Like, as in, that's what you do anyway. I think Singaporean is just using it as an excuse to go chat to some females if I, you know, but nothing wrong with that.
No,
But
but yeah, no, it's just because I was taking them on the orientation groups, and typically I do look out for my fellow countrymen when I'm there, you know, just to make sure that they're settling in okay and things like that. I mean, I was only there for 6 months before then, but prior to that, I mean, like I said, I had friends in WA, so I was familiar with the area, and I established myself unusually quickly actually when I was in Perth. So I was, I knew where to get around, how to do things, and I managed to do all that within like span of 6 months, right? Or even less than that because I think we had like break and things like that in between. So yeah, so I especially looked out for them and eventually exchanged numbers, and yeah, we ended up dating, and the rest is history. Now I'm
nice.
tied down for 8 years and counting.
Wow. Okay, so you guys got married pretty quickly then.
No, no. I mean, like we dated for a long period of time. So what we got together maybe April 2016. So that's 8 years. Yeah. Oh no, we dated. We got married in 21. So that would be 5 years, 6 years before we got married. Yeah. Yeah. And funny story actually. So I actually when I planned to propose to her, I wanted to do it specifically in Perth because that's where
Yeah.
we met. All right. So in 20
I was going to say 2020. They weren't big fans of travel in Perth.
Yeah. So in this case, 20. I want to say 2019. I'm gonna get shot if I say this wrong. Hold on, give me a second, guys.
That's right. We'll scrub this out and insert the correct date of you very, very assuredly saying
Absolutely
the correct
correct date. ChatGPT put in absolute
insert
correct
here.
date here.
2018 November. Right? No, that's wrong.
The look of pain as he uses his mental faculties to come up with the exact date.
Wait, hold on. This is hella awkward.
If you can see, we can see the equations for the general relativity pouring out of his brain.
It is.
He has now solved the climate crisis.
2019.
Cancer is only mere seconds away.
So 2019 of November. 2019, start of 2019. Yes, it has to be 2019 because
Quantum computing is now solved.
this hurts. Okay, it's too early. All right, I'm blaming it. I'm blaming it on the earliness of this.
That was hilarious.
This is.
He's not googling this.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Check the calendar invite. Check the calendar invite.
You know what?
The sheer look of pain on his face as he tries to calculate. If you guys are not watching this on the video, please, just for this brief moment at the 23-minute mark, just watch.
19. I was right.
The calendar invite never lies.
No. It was the photos. I looked at the photos. I looked at the other day, and I was like, okay, good.
There you go. Date timestamp.
So 2019, start of it. I actually flew back to Perth, and I flew back to Perth, and that's when the plan started to cook. All right, I went back. I was helping out with orientation with the new batch of students, even though I was not in Perth anymore, because I had some free time on my hands, so I had to take some leave. So I took some leave. I flew over to orientation together with some of my mates. And then after that, at that point in time, one of the guys were like, "When are you getting married?" And I was like, "That's a really good question." I started thinking about it, and then the next day I was like, "Okay, let's propose this year, and then let's see where this goes from there." All right, and because before that already, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't a win because someone asked me that question. No, we've been talking about it for a bit at that point in time already. But started 2019, had that conversation with a friend, and then started planning, right? It turns out that the new batch of orientation guys were all like, for some reason, like doing like videography, photography, and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I had my camera crew ready at the flick of my finger. So that was great. Then managed. So I was like, okay, so when's a good time to do this proposal, right? So we decided, okay, maybe November is a good time. So I went back to Singapore. I went back to Singapore and then waited for a bit, and then asked my wife. I was like, hey, so where are we traveling to this year? And she's like, oh, I was thinking of going like Bali, thinking of going to a country in Asia. And I was like, how about we go back to Perth? And she was like, why are we going back to Perth? Like, can we not? Like, we already spent like so much time there. I want to visit some. I want to go somewhere which we haven't been. And I was like, trying to come up with like multiple excuses at that point in time. But eventually convinced her. I eventually convinced her to go to Perth. So she had no idea what was happening. So then November went back and then did the proposal, and it was all good.
So she said yes, right? Or is the suspense going to still? She's like, let me think about it. And it's been like 5 years.
Hang on, let me check the photo.
No, she said yes. She said yes, but it was good. I mean, I managed to within the span of Feb to November, so that's what 9 months. Yeah, that's 9 months. I managed to get the ring done up as well. And funny story about the ring. I got her ring size because she went to a convention. Tried on a ring there, and then tried on a ring there. So I saw that it fit, right? But I didn't notice what finger it was on. So anyway, so she tried the ring. She tried the ring. We would continue walking off. Like, made the excuse, I needed to go to the restroom. Went back to the shop. I was like, what size is this ring? Tell me, please. Told me the size. And I was super confident. I was like, all right, guys, I got it. Got the ring size. We're good to go. Because I made a custom ring as well. So we actually made our own rings.
That's awesome.
So I made it for her. And I was like, yep, it's great. When proposed, put the ring on her finger, and it's like loose. I was like, why? And she was like, "Oh,
I had this right."
Yeah, I was like, "I got this right. This is on the dot. Why is it too big?" And then she asked me like, "Oh, where do you get the ring size from?" And I was like, "Oh, you remember that time?" And she's like, "Oh, you mean I was trying it on my other finger." I was like, "No, no, why?" But we went back to because our rings are custom made, right? Or rather, we made it. So the workshop that we went to just helped us resize it. So it was all good, guys. It was all good.
Duct tape is not needed anymore.
I know, and no, and the irony of you saying that, she's like, tape fixes everything. That's literally her motto in life. Because we both do a lot of sports, so she's like, tape fixes everything. So when I said that we needed to resize the ring, she was like, just cut the ring in half and tape it. I was like, no, what? What are you on?
Sounds like a solutions person.
It's just pragmatic. Pragmatic is where we'd put that.
It's true.
Wow. Okay. And so, you've obviously done that, gone back to Razer. How do you go from Razer and trying to find a spot in the company and then end up as like the regional community manager for Samsung, which is, I don't know, I would say a bigger step up.
So, the question is, what did I do in between? I think is probably the better question, right? Because Razer was 2017 to 2018. And then I actually stopped working at Razer because the department that I shifted into was let go. So in between, that's where I got the time to do the Perth thing. And then from there, I got a job at an agency because everyone was telling me you need agency experience. Hated that.
What's agency experience for us people who don't have a clue?
Oh, okay. So in marketing, right? In marketing, typically, there's two I guess large broad categories of roles, right? You have in-house roles, which is my role in Razer, and then you have agency roles, right, where you do a little bit of everything for a lot of different companies. So it's typically companies that hire you. Right?
In-house is like you're working for, like, say, I don't know, like Samsung, and you're doing their marketing for it. And agency is like you're consulting with. Is that kind of it?
Do you know Inform, right? The agency guys that were helping us with the event last year.
Yes.
You know JC?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
actually,
so
I
JC and
didn't
Bros
realize.
are from agencies.
Okay, right. I didn't realize because everyone was wearing the same shirts, so I was like, must everyone's supposed to be... yeah.
I mean, but that's the point, right? Like when an agency helps out a company, they typically wear the same thing. So people like you don't know, and I'm glad you don't because that worked out fine.
It's all in
So
house.
yeah, so agencies and in-house roles. So I started off with in-house, but most marketing folks actually start from agencies, right? Because they go through agencies because it's almost like a rapid fire of like a trial by fire run, right? In the sense that you do a little bit of everything. You help multiple different companies, so you get to see as well, kind of like what type of role suits you. But also, it's really exhausting, and you're also at the beck and call of the person that you're or the company that you're working for, right? So, for example, the portfolio that I was looking after involved like Jewel, you know, Changi Jewel,
Oh yeah. Awesome.
yeah, you know, Sunkist,
As in the drink.
the citrus,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh, nice.
I mean, and I was also handling the HP, you know, the tech HP printers.
Wow. Okay. I mean, if you combine
So
that together, that's
Does it run a mix?
HP branded
A broken printer.
citrus waterfall hybrid. Yeah, that's a cool.
yeah, but as you can see, I mean, the three roles are vastly different, right? You have a B2B role from HP. You have a B2C role focusing on oranges or citrus, and then you have a
Into
B2C role
orange.
once again for Jewel, right? So, but that's the kind of experience that you get at an agency, right? You get multiple different portfolios. You learn extremely quick because you basically don't have rest. But also, I didn't quite like that because it was just too vastly spread, and I already kind of knew what I wanted my niche to be, which was in gaming, right? So after that, I actually joined the startup for a bit, where I was leading kind of like community efforts for the startup. Startup closed because of COVID,
What startup
and
was
then
that? Are
got
they back or did that
no,
just?
no, they've shut for good. They're all doing their own
Oh,
things now. It was a small startup. It was supposed to be a fintech startup. You guys are familiar with Revolut, right?
yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
supposed to be a brand that kind of was like highly competitive against Revolut. Yeah, that was the niche in the market. And then after that, I got picked up on the roadside by Secret Lab, the chair. Oh, we can't see anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
So, which road were
yeah.
you at? In case our listeners also want to be in the same road.
yeah. Where should they also go to get the
It's called
chair?
homelessness at the side of in the side of the streets of Singapore.
Now, listen, everyone. Move to Singapore. Get homeless. Get into Secret Lab.
No, but it was nice because I think one of my mates from the agency actually was approached with a community manager role in
We have another
uh,
drop-in visitor, our cat.
so cute.
Podcast cat.
um, yeah, so one of my mates was actually approached with a role that was working with me in the agency, and he said, "Hey, look, I actually have a better candidate for you," and then he's kind of slapped my name in from there. Yeah,
That's a
and the
good
rest is
mate.
history.
Like putting you up. Like yeah.
Yeah. Yep, I owe the guy quite a bit. So, but Secret Lab was honestly, I think I hope no one from Samsung listens to this, but Secret Lab is probably one of the best places that I've worked at, and I stand firm with that because I mean, everyone I've heard is a bit of a different company now because they rapidly expanded after I left. So they went from like 100 plus to now I think like 200-300 plus now employees. So it's literally double triple in size, right?
Wow.
But I tell you, back then it was really really nice. Like everything, like I got to work with one of the founders of the
Wow.
company as well, and really got to see the passion that he has for his own company. So that was really nice.
So just for
And
context,
then,
what is Secret Lab?
that's a great question. So Secret Lab is a gaming chair company. So they specifically develop chairs like this, super comfortable. And it got really popular during COVID because everyone's buying good chairs for their house from home,
Yeah, true. And all
right?
the work from home people are like, we have a chair budget.
I mean, even without that, people were looking at getting new chairs, and Secret Lab saw this opportunity, and they have a really, really good marketing team as well as a good brand, right? And the thing about Secret Lab and their, I think one of their strengths was kind of growing the brand through their communities, aka, which is why they wanted people like me, right? So they interacted with the brand well, and it almost became, I wouldn't say it became a cult following, because now it's no longer a cult following, but they had a really strong user base of loyal fans as well. And here's a fun fact. If you take a picture of your chair and you post it on social media with the right hashtags, you get extended warranty.
Oh, wow.
So whoever's listening to this, it's, I mean, for the chair owners, they know this because they receive an email, but this is extremely effective marketing.
Yeah. So you said that was your favorite role to date, right? Was it because it was a small company and got to know everyone, or what about it made it the ideal role for you so far?
So I think everyone was really like-minded, right? So for people like me who are gamers, we love meeting other people who game, right? Because we have a common topic to talk about, and we just all like, we start work late because the founders know that gamers in general, game till late. So we game till late, then we start work late, right? So I was weird. It was like 11 to 8.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Right? But of course, they weren't super firm on that. So like, if you want to start your day early, you can leave early. So it's like flexible hours. Work from home was great as well. They weren't super stickler for people coming into office. We had lunch, but we had lunch and dinner paid for. We have a really good pantry as well. It was as if I was going to office and meeting a bunch of friends
That's really
who
nice.
somehow or other know how to work well. They know how to work well as well, and everyone wanted the best for the company, right? So when you have a small group of people like that, it became really easy to work, and you kind of look forward to going to work every day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
quite nice. So then what made you, like, you seem to have really liked it and still seems like it's a highlight role. So what made the decision for you to jump to Samsung?
They gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. They literally gave me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Like a monetary thing, or was it like a perks
Yeah, it
thing
was a
or a role
monetary thing.
thing? Okay.
It was a monetary thing. So they, the story goes, and I'm pretty sure I can share this, but if Gerald's listening to this, well, so be it. So they actually headhunted me for this current role, which I'm currently in. I was really fortunate for that because I didn't expect this call from Samsung at all. It was literally a random call that I picked up with the phone when I was in Sentosa. So for those who don't know what Sentosa is, it's like Singapore's like resort island. So it's like a beach place for Singaporeans to go to. So I was at the beach and I received a call and they were like, "Hey, you interested in this role?" I was like, "Wait, what?"
And another
I'm
random
at the
fact:
pool.
allegedly, the sand for Sentosa is part of the Australian sand export program. So it's actually
Yeah, I
Australian
think so.
sand.
We have a sand export program.
Yeah, we actually export sand, and it's supposedly from St Kilda, like
Huh.
here. So not even Queensland. They
Oh,
took it from
so you
St
get
Kilda.
random needles sprinkled in your sand as well. Awesome.
It's the authentic Australian
Enjoy.
experience.
Gotta be authentic.
I mean, if you go to more
Opportunity.
Frankston or St Kilda, same outcome. So you might as well. What made them like? I mean, hey, you're good at your job, right? But what made them headhunt you? Like, I mean, I don't know about you. I've never been headhunted before, so you know.
I'm still asking myself that same question. I'm still asking myself the same question. No, okay. Jokes aside, I think they were looking for community managers, and community managers in general aren't a common role, right? So first of all, they wanted someone who had experience, right? And community managers back then were far and few. On top of that, I had community management experience on two angles, right? Yeah, I had it on the marketing front, which was from Razer, and then I also had it from the support front, which is from Secret Lab. So there was two roles which were typically community managers either look at one or the other, but because I came from a background that had both, I think that's what Samsung was looking for as well. And I don't know, I like to think that I managed to put a spell over Gerald or charm Gerald and Victor. Then could be something to do with that as well. but yeah, no, I think it was mainly because my background was unique, and community managers once again, experienced community managers are hard to find in Singapore.
So another random
How are you
fact in
finding the
here.
roles, like in terms of the pros and cons of each of the roles? Like, are you finding much of a difference between the two jobs?
Three jobs, right? Like Secret Lab, Razer, and Samsung.
Yeah, in
Um,
terms of being a, I guess, community manager in those areas.
so I think I'm gonna just kind of zoom in a little bit on the Samsung bit because I think Samsung, my role in Samsung has evolved or has changed drastically from during COVID and post COVID.
Mm.
Because during COVID, it was a lot of talking and planning, but I didn't get to do what I wanted, which was to travel around, meet new people, meet the fans, and really kind of make the fans feel welcome, all right, or appreciated at least. It was literally 1 year ago where that was the first in-person event which we were able to do, right? And because of that, that kind of reignited the fire in me to stay on Samsung because those events, as much as it was good for Raffy and the other stars, it really once again, like I said, ignited the fire in me, right? Because to me, that's what being community manager is about, right? It's about bringing these people into the brand, really making them feel welcomed, and as far my personal motto in life is that if you treat others as you like to be treated, right? So if I want if I want the community to do something for Samsung, I need to make sure that they want to do something for Samsung instead of asking them, hey, can you do something and then point a gun in the head, right? So I think for me, the roles are vastly different. In that in Razer, it was more I was focusing on the digital side, right? I was really active on socials. I was doing a bit more marketing stuff, so I was doing like launch plans for products, April Fools campaigns, and things like that. And then in Secret Lab, that's where I got in touch with people, right? So that's where I was reaching out to the people themselves, trying to figure out their problems, trying to lead them in the right direction, trying to respond to comments in a funky way, to make sure that the people feel engaged with the brand online. And then now my role has evolved even more, right? Where instead of doing that online, I'm doing that in person. And this is kind of the sweet spot because like I said, when I started the podcast, I love people, right? And I love meeting people. So being able to form these personal connections with people like Raffy, right? Or people like Kelvin, or people like Jason, right? All these guys who I've met over time, whether it's digitally first and then physically, or at the events, and then we've managed to form a deeper bond, and then from there go on, right? To me, that's how the three roles kind of differ from each other, right? Where first is a bit more marketing, a bit more digital focus. Second is digital focus, but you have contact with people, and then this last one is really it's a bit more focused on support. But now, of course, they've kind of let the leash go and let me go a bit crazy with what I want to do with the stars. And we have some pretty interesting things coming up.
So
A few promises which I've made people, which we're finally able to fulfill. So I'm quite excited for this year.
So just two little interesting things is like so. Brian mentioned Gerald, who happens to be from Singapore Air and used to work with my brother-in-law, who's also in
Oh yeah,
Singapore.
that's crazy.
Yeah, right? Did I tell you this? I think I told you this before, right? Like,
Me?
yeah, did I not tell
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know that.
Which is like we did an episode of like 6 degrees of separation, and that was just one of those moments we were just going down the escalator in Marina Bay Sands, and then something like I think Terrence, my brother-in-law, saw the photos. Like, is that Gerald? I'm like, you guys know each other? Like, is Singapore really that small? Like, I thought there was a few million people, and so I turned around to Gerald, and I'm like, Terrence says hi. It's like Terrence Tong. I'm like, yeah. It's like, and you could see like mind blowing explosion going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the second thing I wanted to say is like having gone to now two events, which I was very fortunate and did not expect to go to, like went to the Singapore one and the Korea one. So Korea one is like where Samsung head office is, right? It's like the mothership version. You could genuinely tell that the Singapore one, if you could stretch it out for days, was it was so dense. You could see that someone was really, 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 really wanting to cram as much in. Like, I kid you not, we started at 8 in the morning, and it was we were there for 48 hours, right? Like the entire event was 48 hours, but you're there for like a few hours before because everyone came in at different times and left at different times, right? You can ask my wife, it's just around the corner. It's like, you keep talking about this. I was like, I'm just decompressing, man. Like, it was just so jam packed. You started at 8, we finished at like close to midnight, and then we were like editing and posting like photos and stuff like that. And then the next day you do it again, and you're like, holy crap. But it was just so
I
jam packed.
apologize. It's my
No, no,
fault.
no. It was just like you could see it was done with enthusiasm and passion. Like as compared to like even the HQ one that was done in Korea. Like yeah, I was like yeah, someone's gone. Let's just put like a few tick boxes of this and that. And it was nice. It was more spaced out, but you could tell where enthusiasm was over one of the events. The other part of it was that in terms of a community, the other part of the community is like the members in it, right? So Pal, one of the Malaysian members, came to visit Australia not that long ago. So we caught up. And there's a whole bunch of these people that are now independent of members catching up in person. I got invited to Calvin's wedding, for example. Right? I've met the guy twice. So
Yeah.
whatever you've done at Samsung, like it's like, you know, it's paying dividends in
Sounds
terms
like
of
a Samsung-sponsored wedding coming up. Is that what I
Calvin, if you're listening to this, hit up Brian now.
No, do not hit me up, Kelvin.
Yeah. These are
Stay away
promises
from me.
made. Promises made.
I did promise Kelvin that if he came to Singapore, right, I will be giving him a red packet, so like an ang pao. So, but he said 3.5 years for some. Oh no, it's this stupid joke that Malaysians have to Singaporeans, where even though we're across the border from each other, fun fact for viewers listening, we exchange rate, $1 is 3.5 Malaysian ringgit. Right, so he said that there's no way he can come to Singapore unless it's 3.5 years later.
Oh.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So I told so when he does come, 3.5 or 2.5 years later now, a cup of coffee and an ang pao for him.
I'm gonna have to like put in Calvin and Jason's Instagram handles in the so people have some context. They're going, who the hell are these people? So
they're really good. They're really good people.
Yeah, they're just other Samsung members who've also been to these various events that we've gotten to know. And yeah, I think the interesting thing was that the Singapore one especially, it was really nice. It felt like you're on a school excursion in a way. It's like, here's the highlights tour of Singapore, right? And you jump on a bus, you're talking to like these people, and they're all kind of like nerds like me. I was like, yep, everyone's into the same thing, which must be what Secret Lab was like for you. And yeah, it's as an adult, I think we don't really form friends that commonly anymore. Like you probably do because you're just like out there saying hello. But like for me, it's like I don't form such close friends. Like Chandra, I've known for like what 2 decades. I was at Begley's birthday the other day. I realized everyone now, more than half our lives, we've known since mid school.
Yeah, we'll be that.
Yeah, but I think for the effect of 2 days to form such good friendships, to be invited to someone's wedding, I think speaks volumes as to not just the curation of the community, but like the ability to foster the engagement. So kudos to doing that, man.
Appreciate that, man. I'm glad
the audience loves it too.
No, I'm glad to hear that side of things too. And I think you're not the first one that has mentioned something like that to me. So it's definitely not you giving me lip service or anything. But that also is kind of the reason why I'm staying for so long. I mean, you know, I've probably cracked jokes about leaving Samsung like, you know, since last year, right? But I still haven't left, and I've just quote unquote renewed my stay for a bit longer. So. Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately for you, you have to deal with me for at least another year.
No, I love getting so we get these monthly emails essentially from Brian, which kind of gives us a playbook of different things about Samsung products that we can talk about on social media, or like it's mainly in the members community. So it's you can tell, like I think there was one where like one of the like we're in the background of the photo and we're like, I was like, that's weird seeing an email attachment from someone else. But it's cool. It's cool to see. It's like little bits of Easter eggs, if you like, almost, where you go hunting to see, hey, who's in that photo? And it's been ever since the events. I go, oh, it's so-and-so. They're over there. They must have done something over there. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I do those, it's always fun for me as well, because like I pull up the old photos and I'm like, shit, yeah, that's right, we did that. You know, and then it's like, does it relate with this month's theme? And I'm like, okay. Yeah, let's copy and paste it in. Let's see if anyone's going to message me about this.
One thing I'm curious about is like it seems like you're quite good at the whole community management and everything. How did you sort of learn how to do that? Was that like just by doing, or how did you get so good at it?
Great question. No one has actually asked me that before, so that's really really
Oh,
good. I think I would like to say it's more of a soft skill, right? In terms of knowing, well, it's two parts, right? I think 70% of it is soft skills, 30% of it is hard skills. So for the soft skills part, is a lot of it is about like why you're doing community management, right? And once again, I always like to go back to the fact that I love people, and when you love people the way I do, right, you want to give what's best for them, right? And once again, going back to the model in life, which is treat people how you like to be treated, it goes hand in hand with one another, right? Because I wouldn't be going all out and doing like I don't like to do OT typically. I mean, that's why the Australian in me comes in, right? I don't like to do OT. So, but when I was prepping for the event, I was willingly doing OT for like 2 weeks before the event,
Ah,
making sure that
overtime.
everything
Sorry,
was
it just
right.
took me a second to figure out what OT
Oh,
was.
yeah, overtime. Sorry, overtime.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was like, doing OT 2 weeks. Even Gerald was like, are you okay? Like, why are you staying in office so late? You usually gone by like 6, and it's like 7, 8 o'clock, and I'm still like trying to like finalize some of the plans. Um, it's passion as well. I think is the other thing, right? So it's the love for people, the passion that I have for seeing a successful event, or seeing a successful community, and I think it expands out of work as well. So it's not just um, community management from a job perspective, but as you can see, I'm wearing this shirt that says Yokohama. It's got a giant Pikachu on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
There we go. I love to do the same for the communities which I'm in, which in this case is Pokemon, right? And I love, love, love just seeing people have the same passion as same passion as me for something which I like. For Samsung, it's not so much the brand, but it's more for seeing like linking people up and making sure that they form real connections as well. Because I mean, I'm fortunate to be in a spot where I'm literally talking to 79 people right, from across the region, and seeing how cool people are, it but other people don't know that, right? And I take it upon myself to introduce people together, or rather, make sure that people have the opportunity or the space to interact with one another. Yeah.
so I hear that. Well, on that point, you're into very competitive parts of Pokemon. Please tell us more.
Um, I'm glad you caught the segue.
Segue.
The segue was there.
Wait, just to
Yeah,
highlight.
string pull.
So smooth, no one
Pokemon.
noticed.
Jeez. Where do I even start with this?
How did you get
you want to
into
know
it?
about random connect? Sorry.
How did you get into it? Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So you know how this podcast is about random doors opening, right? There's random
Yeah.
sliding doors. After the slide open, holy cow! I tell you, this is the most random door ever.
We are now
So,
listening even closer.
so Pokemon. So first of all, I'm a fan of Pokemon. Okay, even before I got into the competitive scene, right? So that's something that you need to know. I'm a fan of Pokemon. I've been playing it, or rather, the games. I've been playing it since I was a kid. Grew up with it. Love it. All right. Back during COVID, Pokemon exploded worldwide once again. Right, there's a huge resurgence of Pokemon, especially in the trading card game. Like the cards that people used to collect, right? The cards that people used to collect.
I used to have them. It was great.
Exactly, right? And now they're worth freaking thousands and millions of dollars. I'm like, what?
I'm like,
Still
I should
blows
look
my
up
mind.
that old book, old binder of mine.
Yeah, so we started Pokemon. The set that they released during COVID is a set called Evolving Skies, which the main characters of the set is Eevees, right? And Eevee is a really, really popular character, and it's also one of my personal favorite Pokemon. So I was like, you know what? Let's go and buy a booster pack. And then it became a box of boosters. And then it became a couple more boxes of boosters. So then I had like this I had like this box of just cards which I just bought, and I'm like, crap. That's a bit more than I like to spend on it. But I was like, you know what? Since I bought the cards, let's maybe find a place to play them, because I used to play them as a kid, and I was like, for the nostalgia sake, let's get back into it. And with approval from the wife, I got back into it, right? But the problem is immediately post COVID, right? Meeting people in person is still a weird thing, and most shops are still closed because COVID. People are still recovering. So I was like, I have no idea where to even start, right? So I happened to then stumble across this Facebook group, okay, which is that says Pokemon TCG trading card game group, Singapore group. So I joined the group, and at that point in time, I was looking up YouTube videos of what the best deck and format was. So there's this Pokemon called Calyrex. It's one of the newer ones, and I was like, okay, great. I'm gonna go ahead and build this deck, but I have no idea where to find the pieces of the deck, right? Because there's no way I'm gonna buy. So for the viewers who don't know, and for yourselves as well, if you want to buy Pokemon cards, right, there are two ways to go about it. You can buy booster packs, right, which is a random pack of cards, 10 cards inside, and you can pray to find the card that you want. But typically, sets of boosters go in like, let's see, this set has like 165. So for you to find the one card out of the 165, it's extremely hard to find, right?
Got to buy a lot of packets.
Exactly. And one booster pack in
Gotta
Singapore
buy them
dollars
all, Pokemon. Gotta buy them all.
That was the
yes.
first iteration of their marketing slogan.
and still so relevant though. It's still so bloody relevant. It's insane. But yeah, so for you to find out one card of the 165 is extremely hard. So the smarter route to do it is to buy singles, right? And singles can be found in two places. You can either buy it from a shop or buy it from a person, right? And once again, going back, you can't. Shops aren't still opening. I didn't know where to go as a new player. So
is it officially buyable, or is it just someone who's taken a booster and they're selling that individual card? Is that what's happening when you buy singles?
So once again, there's two places that you can buy singles, right? One is what you mentioned, which is why an individual who happened to open an extra one that they didn't want, just don't want that card, and then they go back to the resale market, like a Facebook market group, and then they'll sell it there.
Yeah.
Or you can go down to the shop, right?
Yeah.
And from the shop, that's what they're doing as well. So they're either buying in bulk of cards, right, sorting it out themselves, or they open up like booster packs from themselves and then sell singles. Yeah. So what I did was I went on Facebook group, posted willing to buy Calyrex ×4, and this guy randomly messages me, and he's like, "Hey, I have a bunch of Calyrexes," and then he goes, "By the way, I see that you're buying meta cards. Are you a new player?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." Then he's like, "Oh, great! Happy to walk you through the game." So on and so forth. And then I was like, "Hey, why don't you come over to my place?"
I'm hearing a lot of recurrent themes here, inviting random strangers over.
Right. So I was like, "Why don't you come to my place? Since you stay like fairly nearby, why don't you come over to my place? I'll buy you lunch. You can teach me about the game." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." Fast forward 2 years, this guy is now one of my closest friends. I was one of the groomsmen for his wedding as well.
Wow.
An absolute legend. And Raffy mentioned at the start that I do a podcast as well for myself for Pokemon. I'm doing it together with this guy. So his name's Nicholas, Nick for short. Nick has been an absolute legend. Yeah, shout out to Nick, man.
What's the name of the podcast, just in case people want to look it up?
Yeah, so it's called the Southern Islands, or the Tropical GX podcast. Perfect. Yeah. So the Southern Islands is the group, is the organization. So it's like Braden, but the podcast name is Tropical Hour GX. It's focused a lot on the competitive Pokemon scene in Southeast Asia, with an emphasis on Singapore. And we do like a bi-weekly podcast as well. And we organize events in Singapore. So we are probably one of the largest, if not the largest, community-led, community-driven team or organization in Singapore/Southeast Asia.
Wow! Congrats, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Pretty cool. And it's all from a Facebook group.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
Sorry, a bit late on the.
I would definitely vouch for Facebook groups. Literally just 2 nights ago, I posted up for Crew for the Boat. And I've met the best people ever to basically just, come along, bum on the boat for a few weeks, teach me something, etc. And yeah, Facebook. Invite
Yeah,
random
no,
strangers over. It's great.
it's crazy. It's crazy, right? Because I mean, to think that Facebook is kind of phased out as like the main social platform that people are using, because people are leaning more towards like Instagram or TikTok or yeah, Instagram or TikTok.
I
But
think
Facebook to me
Snapchat
is
still
still
exists somehow.
Insta chat book.
Yeah.
Gram.
So some people.
Meta
Yeah.
right now.
Meta.
But
The
I
Facebook
think
groups. Yeah, it's definitely a thing.
for sure, and it connects communities and people together. That's for sure. So yeah, so huge shout out to Nick. That's what started me on the journey, and now I'm part of this group, which is like I said, one of the larger groups in Southeast Asia to run Pokemon stuff. We also are we also run the podcast, and now I'm top 4 in Singapore. So that's kind of nuts for me.
And
It's
you're also
causing me a
like,
lot of stress, but it's crazy. It's
but you're
crazy.
also like competing at a fairly high level these days, aren't you? With the TGC or TCG?
Yeah, TCG. Yeah, no. Like I mentioned, right, so I'm top 4 right now in Singapore in terms of
Wow.
standings, which is
Nice.
I'm still pinching myself. I can't believe it. Um, so yeah, so I'm competing for that right now. We just finished regionals 2 weeks ago in Singapore, and we will have another regionals in April, and then we'll probably have a nationals sometime in, I want to say, early June, late May. What these points or what the standing means is that once nationals finish, that's the last competition of the season. Top 4 in points, and the winner of nationals will get to fly over to Honolulu in August to compete in the World Championship.
Oh wow. Okay, so
That'd be cool.
it's a realistic possibility.
Now it is.
Well, that we
So
need another audience cheer for that.
yeah, no, as I'm saying it now, it's still kind of unbelievable to me, because I think we've always joked as a friend group that we're gonna head over towards to compete, and the friend group that I'm part of in the TCG community is one of the groups with the better people, right? So last year, out of the 5 Singaporeans that went, 4 of them were part of the group. 3 of them were part of the group. Sorry. So just yeah, so it was always kind of like, oh, I'm always going to be there to support you guys, but I'm never going to go in and play it myself. So this year, when I started off the season being the finalist of regionals, which catapulted me to second place, I was like, holy crap, that's like, is this real?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like, I could go there.
Yeah, exactly. And
For
at one point in time, before this past regionals, I was first, and I was like, shit, what do I do with this?
Okay, so
Um,
for people who are like, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of listeners who are sitting there going, "Yeah, Pokemon don't get it at all." What would you say, like, as in, what makes it fun? Like, if you had, like, say, like me, I've got some Pokemon cards from back in the day. I've got like when I went to see the first movie, I've got those cards, right? Never played, right? What? So it's like, people know what chess is. They know it's like strategy, this, that, and the other. What would you say? Like, if you had to convince someone, use your marketing hat, and say you should really get into Pokemon cards or TCG, what would that spiel be?
okay.
Because you're
I
clearly
say
passionate
it's kind
about
of a
it.
joke.
Yeah.
I say it's kind of a joke, but it's the people that you meet.
Yep.
It's the people you meet and the friendships that you make. I mean, but that's a Brian response, right? Because it's true. It really is about the people that you meet and the friendships that you make. But if you're talking about the game itself, right, I think it's a really, really interesting game, because it's a lot more complex than people make it to be. So yeah, it's a lot more complex than people think it is, right? People are like, "Oh, you just play the cards, right?" I'm like, "But how do you play the cards?" Because you have, sorry, I was just making my deck just now. You have a 60 card deck, right? And in this deck, for me, 60 card deck, you have a bunch of different cards, and you can only have 4 copies of one card. Right? You can have unlimited amounts of energy cards, and you typically want to build your deck around a certain plan, a certain idea. All right. So then the question then becomes, okay. So for example, if I'm playing Ultra Ball, all right, do I play 1 copy of Ultra Ball? Do I play 4 copies of Ultra Ball? So there's a deck building aspect to this, right? So first of all, it's deck building. So once and you can only choose 60 cards, right? So it then becomes kind of like a numbers game. So what do I want to increase the odds of consistency? Do I want to add in one or two tech cards to deal with more unique situations? So there's a whole deck building aspect of it, and then of course there's the playing aspect of it, right? So yes, there's always an argument for, is Pokemon a luck based game or skill based game, right? It's a little bit of both, right? Because at the end of the day, you're playing with the hand that you're dealt with, literally, right? So for game of Pokemon, you have a 60 card deck. You draw 7 cards, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and let's say that if I don't have a good hand, how the heck do I play with these 7 cards to make it so that it becomes a little bit more bearable? But this is actually a pretty decent hand. But yes,
If only us two played, we'd be like, oh, let's go. Okay, so
but yeah, right. So
yeah. So it seems
sorry,
like.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it sounds like there's the thing that it takes is kind of like there's the strategy. There's also like just the fun of collecting things, and it seems to tick that box as well. And obviously the social element. Would that be the 3 top summaries of what you'd say, or is there some other sprinkling of magic sauce that I've missed there?
No. That's summarizes it really, really well as well, right? So
Nice.
then when you have communities, when you have groups that you talk about it like seriously about, you start seeing wild ideas, and you test it out, and then when you do well with the deck that you test it out with, it gives you a sense of achievement as well, right? So like I give full credit back to the boys that crafted the deck with me way back during the first regionals, and okay, not way back, but like in November. Right, it wasn't. I don't ever say that. Oh,
Ancient. You know?
I don't ever say it's purely Brian's effort that got me the second place. No, it was the random idea of throwing 1 or 2 cards in to make the deck a bit more consistent, or it's the idea of playing this set of cards which people don't usually play in the deck, which then made it unique and easier to deal with, like the mirror matchup. So mirror matchup is like if I'm using Charizard, you're using Charizard, you know. So how do I deal with that, right? So it's stuff like that which really makes it fun.
Yeah, it also sounds like from just if we step back a little bit that you have this unique life if you compare it to say the average Joe, right? Where you've literally done the thing that most people say they're going to do, but they don't do it, which is, if you're passionate about your job, you'd never work a day in your life. That saying, right? So it sounds like you found your passion and you've crafted it in both your job, like the role at Samsung, but also it seems like that's how you're heading into your hobbies as well, which is TCG, right? Um, a any tips along the way for people, because this is not common, right? Like, uh, not to it very much comes across that you're very passionate about both, like the community building aspects on both, and that seems to be the core foundation of everything. You love people, and you figured it out, right? How did you figure that out? As that was going to be, because people have a lot of interests, but they have very few passions, and I don't think they can differentiate one from the other as easily as you'd think, right? You seem to have figured that bit out. Is that something intrinsic? And yeah, any tips for our listeners?
So I don't know. I think I've been lucky because I've been raised in an environment which is not yet, I think, a typical Singaporean environment. Where in Singapore, a lot of people focus on their studies and their education, which is, and don't get me wrong, that's important, right? But for me, I had the opportunity to grow up in the international school, right? So I was raised with Americans, with Australians, with Koreans, right? People who are living abroad for the first time, likely because of their parents' job, right? So already I was kind of exposed to the concept of maybe studies isn't the most important thing in the world. It's important, but it's not the most important thing in the world, right? Where you should be free to learn to do what you want to do and to explore what you want to explore, right? So I think I was instilled with the values going to school, and huge pop up shout outs to one of my teachers. His name is Mr. Evans. He's, I think, now teaching in Africa.
All
Yeah,
right.
the man, like these bunch of teachers are honestly uh, great because they are not local, right? They're literally flown in either from the states, and typically they've got experience in teaching all over the world, and they have similar backgrounds as well, where they've lived abroad as a kid, and then they wanted to go into education
Did you
and,
go
and
to
education and
school in Singapore or was it in the States?
it's in Singapore. So I studied in the Singapore American School, which is
Okay, okay.
not biased at all, one of the best schools in Singapore. But But really, I mean, huge shout out to Miss Evans because I think he kind of he didn't teach me in he didn't okay like education bit. I was a horrible physics student. He was teaching physics, horrible physics student, but he taught me what the more important thing, which is the values of life, right? So he was a father of two kids, but he's still a gamer. He was a gamer, so that's how we connected, and he really kind of mentored me through that. So I think going into life myself, I was really subconsciously inspired by him, right? And doing the things I wanted to do. For him, it was travel abroad and teach abroad, and help people like me grow into more responsible adults, I guess. But it's the whole educating bit, right? It's not just education in terms of studies, but education in terms of life skills.
Yeah, fair
For
enough.
me, it was I wanted not to be chained down, and I don't get me wrong. Like I am fortunate in the sense that I don't have to be super worried about money. I'm not being paid that well in Samsung. Don't get me wrong, but growing up, my parents were had well-paying jobs, and they were able to raise me in an environment where doing like money is important once again, but doing what you want to do is a bit more important than that, right? And it throws me back to last year where I was having a conversation with my wife, and she was working. Her background is that she used to do research, but now she's a vet tech. Oh, not vet, the vet nurse,
Mhm.
right? And in polytechnic, so in like TAFE, she was doing veterinary. She was doing veterinary sciences, right? And animals are her passion, right? So she basically took like a 50% pay cut, almost 50% pay cut, to get into to do the job she's doing now. But the key difference is she used to come back every day being like, versus now she's smiling and she's talking about her job. She likes it. She's socializing with her colleagues, and I'm like, that's more important to me, right? Yeah, you may not, you maybe a little bit more tight on money, right? But it gives you happiness. It gives you less stress. You think more care of your mental health. So that's more important to me. And for me, I like to apply. I'm not a hypocrite. I like to do. I like to do what I talk. I like to talk and do the and I like to walk the talk, right?
You can do the talk, you can
So
walk the talk, you can do any version of it.
yeah, but
All
for me,
versions of talk.
You can
yeah.
smell
So
the
for me,
talk.
that's basically it. That's basically it. I like to do what I like to do, and I will do whatever I can to achieve that fine balance, right? And Samsung is able to give me that, so that's also probably why I've stayed for so long.
No, fair enough. And I had one sort of follow up question to that, which is the and I think this is very true, and I'm going to put words in Chandra's mouth on this. We're very ADHD kids, right? Like, we get excited about lots of different stuff, and shiny object syndrome. I think if you've listened to this podcast remotely for anything more than 3 episodes, you'll see shiny object syndrome coming out left, right, and center for both of us. One of the things is you can be passionate and excited about a lot of stuff, but it also tends to get to a point where either you're going for breadth over depth, or you're just doing so much that you're then starting to burn out, right? Where it sounds like you're doing a lot, but you found this magic thing where it's rejuvenating. Like you're saying you're stressed out and whatnot, but it's like a happy stress. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
any sort of tips or any sort of insights there about how you've managed to pull that off?
So for those who don't know me, or for Raffy who does, is probably the only one that knows me well enough. He knows that I'm a huge extrovert, right? And once again, it's going back to the fact that I love people. And you put me in a room. So another fun fact about me is I don't drink alcohol at all. Right? Not a drop. But I'm always great at parties because I feed off the energy of people, right? So you can call
Yeah.
me an energy vampire or energy sucker, but I feed off the energy of people, right?
I think vampires kill their victim where you're kind of like giving back. So I think you're more like an energy mirror, maybe like a convex one, concentrating the
Energy
energy where it's
spirit.
fun.
Well, I mean that's it, right? So I get joy of seeing other people being happy, right? And um, I think actually this literally just happened like what 2 days ago, yeah. So so through the Southern Islands, right, we have a Facebook page, right, and we always post about local events. We always post about what's happening in the Pokemon scene. So randomly, there's this guy, his name's Kevin, who posted, who commented on one of the posts, being like, "Hi, I just moved to Singapore. I'm interested in getting into the game. You know, where can I play the game, right?" So we I dropped him a message on Facebook being like, "Hey, noticed that you commented on our page. We're more than happy to reach out and show you around. Could you let's exchange contacts, right?" So fast forward a bit, became friends. Big surprise.
Have you invited him over?
Became friends. Sorry.
Have you invited him
Actually, yes, he has come over. Guilty as charged.
We should keep a counter of this.
Guilty as charged. He has come over. But he's come over to play board games. And met him the other day. We've also gone to Singapore Comic Con with him because he also likes he likes drawing. He likes comics. He likes Pokemon. He likes pop culture. So we went to check it out. So I went together with another one of the Pokemon players plus my wife. And we just through just these multiple conversations that we've hung out a couple of times as well. I mentioned that he liked drawing, right? And he gave me this piece.
Oh wow! Okay, for those who can't see, there is that. Sorry, I can't quite tell with the reflection. Is that meant to be you with the?
Yeah. So this is the same outfit. That's the same outfit that I wore during regionals, and these are some of my favorite Pokemon. This is all hand drawn.
That is a stunning piece. So for those who can't see and
Right?
you're just doing the audio podcast, it's like Bryan leading the charge with his favorite Pokemon into battle, and it's a hand drawn, and it looks just like a manga animator would draw it. Like, it's got a little bit of reflections. I can't quite tell, but the detail is amazing.
No, it's absolutely stunning, and he gave me this piece as like a birthday present. He was like, "Oh, sorry, like I couldn't find you during your birthday, but I figured that you're gonna come, so I did this piece for you. Happy birthday!" And I was like,
Damn.
"That's crazy, right?" And it's really moments like that. I don't expect anything at all. I literally wanted. I'm interested in the game. I love the game. I want other people to love the game. So I share my interest. I share my love, and this happens, and I'm like, far out, man. That's like I was literally about to cry of happiness, right? Because I was that touched.
That's a special moment.
It is. It really is. And this piece is like staying in front of my desk.
I
need to find a frame from it quick.
I mean, it is like a literal work of art,
Yeah, and it's moments like that which give back to me, right? Or it's moments like meeting people like you, right, Raffy, where our friendship has grown beyond just Samsung community manager, Samsung things. It's really about getting to know each other at a deeper level, right? And as cheesy as it sounds, for me, the reason why I said I love people, and I think we've established that right now. But the reason why I love people is because
I don't think I've been invited over to your house. Now I'm offended.
Well, look, if you come back to Singapore, but I think the reason why I love people is because I find that every single person has a story to tell, and I want to know what that story is, right? And to me, that's always an interesting thing because no one story is the same, and I think this is a very similar reason to why you guys are doing this podcast, right?
Yeah. Wow, what a circle back. That's like, do I have clapping? I should have clapping. There's got to be clapping. Is that clapping?
Just weave that word around and get back.
No, but it's true, right? And it's because of that model that I live by. I've met so many interesting people, and I love hearing these stories, and and it just gives back. So that's how I do what I do, and still, I mean, sometimes I do feel a little bit overwhelmed, but most of the times, I'm in a happy spot. Let's put it that way.
That's good to hear because, by and large, and I don't know if this is just a healthcare thing, a lot of people in healthcare are on the, and again, I speak because Melbourne had like the world's longest lockdowns and everything just, our wait list blew up, our, time to surgery increased, and there's been this long grind of catching up. So we just got over the pandemic, and instead of ramping down and easing off, nurses had their leave cancelled. We got put on extra lists on Saturdays just to catch up, and yeah, so it's refreshing to hear someone go, yeah, you know what, we're back to seeing people, and that's a good thing. And because by and large, and I definitely know one of the listeners for this is like, we are just having coffee before, and she's like, "Yep, people, God, why? I just want to be a hermit again." And I think it's just a response to the overwhelm of like this extra bit of work. So it's very uplifting to hear that in other parts of the world and whatnot, it's like we can get back to that where things are more stable, and it's like you're in a good spot. It doesn't have to be just doom and gloom, because you turn on the news and what do you see but doom and gloom?
Yeah. I think the key focus sometimes is really to focus on yourself, right? I mean, if you do what you like to do and you're happy about it, what's there to be sad about?
Not being invited to
Well, I
Brian's
do have
place.
one thing on the doom and gloom front, which I was like, how do I segue this into there?
Yeah. Now, for records,
AI
I know.
and community
There we
management.
go.
Man. Gotta get AI in there. AI and community management. I reckon that.
Now,
I'm just very curious.
So our previous podcast,
Because-
we've lasted a minute before Chandra's gone AI heavy. So to get to an hour plus, this is a very big win for Rand.
It's a long way.
Has it been an hour? Oh, geez.
It's an hour and 20 minutes so far, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
And finally, we got to the important things. AI.
Chandra's like, can't do a podcast without AI. Must mention AI. AI must be in the first 30 seconds.
No, okay. So I mean, that's an interesting question, because once again, that's never been asked to. I've never thought about it before, actually.
Because, I'm pretty sure Russian hacking groups are doing quite well.
Okay, so I think for me, and these are my first thoughts, right? Like I mentioned before, I've never thought about this before. This is literally my top of mind thoughts.
Perfect. That's the random way.
I don't think AI is going to be an issue for community management, because I think for community building and community management, right, it's impossible to remove the human aspect of it, because at the end of the day, people want to know the person behind the computer and not the computer itself, right? And AI can't fully replace that, because, at least for now, right? For now, AI can't fully replace that, because they still don't have that personal touch. And at the end of the day, you can tell definitely when someone's getting a response by an AI or by a bot at this point in time versus getting a human response, right? And oftentimes it's the human aspect of it which keeps people around.
In terms of...
Makes a lot of sense, especially for the events and things you do. It's that sort of actual people catching up.
Yeah, and like I said, I only managed to form a good connection with Raffy because we met, but you're never going to be able to meet an AI.
So I'll put a little...
Right now.
I'll put a contrarian take on it. I'm with you on this one. I know Chandra's got a different opinion on it, right? But I would say, for example, right, let's say people would say music is a very human thing and you have an emotional connection, and, like gorillas feel good ink, right? No one's ever met the gorillas. They've had live concerts. They've had projected stuff, and people have rocked up and treated it like a pure in-person event. They've had the old community thing, but they're clearly a virtual band, and they've never tried to not be a virtual band, right? Like that they were a band that's just cartoons and whatnot, Damon Albarn and stuff, and it's one of his projects. Now, that's someone who's obviously come out and made it virtual, In the current day and age, there's already virtual influencers, right? That are purely virtual, and they clearly have fans, otherwise they wouldn't have anything. So let's just imagine a future where people haven't really told you that they're virtual, and you can kind of see them in real life they'll be on that sort of virtual stage. There's people walking around, so it looks like, yeah, they've interacted, right? Do you foresee that once we start blurring the lines, that things will change, or do you still see that it'll be a continuation of things that are as they are?
That's another level altogether, but I think
we can't answer that because we're not in the community management role. So I was just like, yeah, if I just throw this out there as the Black Mirror version of things, or if it's a mirror version of things, it's not necessarily like a negative thing, but how do you? Any thoughts?
I think for me, if that happens, it happens, right? But at the same time, I know that's a really PR answer, really like shrug it off answer. No, but it's true, right? I mean, if it happens, it happens, because at the end of the day, if I for one am pro AI, right? I'll say that first, right? I for one am pro AI. I love the things that Samsung is doing with the phones, right? And not only Samsung, but other companies are doing with the phones as well. And I think the next step is to really kind of personalize that. But that really then gets into, like I'm human, Terminator kind of territory already. But I think for now, it's extremely hard to replicate one-to-one human feelings, and you gave really good examples of, I think, gorillas, or even like Hatsune Miku, right, for Japanese people, or even just the vlogger, not vlogger, VTubers. There we go, which are the completely virtual influences. But the thing is, you'll never be able to fully replace. I believe you'll never be able to fully replace human emotions, at least not in our lifetime, right? Unless you start doing like copy and brainwave patterns and all those kind of things.
Well, Neuralink
But this is
has
complete.
implanted the first one, so
But I
Neuralink
mean,
coming soon.
I mean, for you to mass replicate that into day-to-day jobs, I don't think that's going to happen in our lifetime.
isn't it just Control C, Control V?
Because I mean, the AI still needs to learn, right? And
Yep.
at the end of the day, like I said, if it happens, it happens, and I'll be happy to see the day that it comes. But I believe that I'm always going to be able to give a more human approach, I guess,
Yeah.
for lack of a better explanation
I think.
to it. And
Oh, sorry, sir.
yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you off there. No, I was just
no,
saying that. Yeah, I think a lot of the conversation the moment AI enters the picture is like it's one or the other. Is this dichotomous? AI is going to kill us all, or AI is going to be the savior, or like you know, right now it was like it must be all electric vehicles or it must be all petrol vehicles. Like they're coexisting. It's fine. There's a transition. It might be one way or the other, and that's kind of the usually how it happens. The rate of change
yeah,
is
no.
faster.
Actually, I was gonna say, the other positive of AI for me is that, in fact, I think if AI is able to be enabled in the community manager's role, you at least some of the early forms of AI, right, it's actually going to be really helpful for me, right, in the sense that if, let's say, AI, if I can just get an AI to reply to all the questions that people have on community, right? I don't have to worry about people trying to, answering wrongly and things like that. If the AI is smart enough to go ahead and do all the answers responsibly, then I can leave the AI to do that. Whereas I do the more event stuff, right? I can do all the more one-to-one interactions because I can't trust the AI. I'm not trust the AI, but the AI right now can't do a personal connection with Raffy, for example. Right? He
Yeah,
can't
it's
go to
not
Raffy.
very good doing a podcast, for example, with us.
Yeah,
Probably
right.
do its own
So
podcast quite well, but I don't think it'll do a good guest podcast necessarily.
Exactly, right. So I can't get like the AI to ask Ref what he thinks of the newest S24 and then communicate with him beyond just that question, right? So I can do that human connection, the one-to-one connections, the group connections. I'm then freed up to do more things like that.
Cool. Yeah, fair enough. Like, yeah, I mean, at the moment, it is a tool. It seems to be a scary tool, and people have seemed to have formed very early opinions. And it's just kind of like, again, it's shiny toy on the block, right? So we're both like Chandra's Scribe app is AI based, so we've been kind of heavily playing on it. But everyone else, like I was talking to someone who was thinking of using it, they're like, oh, don't know if we like it listening. Like it's like you turning on the tape recorder. It's the same. It's a tool, right? Like it just has a bit more intelligence to it in terms of summarizing things. But at the moment, anyway, it's a tool. Whether you use it or not is up to you. But yeah, it seems to. It's an interesting topic because it's very polarizing for some reason. But since it's been an hour and a half, we should start actually letting you enjoy your Sunday. We just had a couple of rapid fire questions, right? And normally we have a list, but I think we've used the list enough that I'm just gonna spitball it, right? First of all,
Shoot.
durian. What's your opinion? Is it actually delicious, or is it, like I think, a toxic biological weapon that should be banned?
I'm neutral about it. Very few people can be neutral about it, but I'm neutral about it.
How
I
can you be
enjoy it
neutral
every
about
now and
it?
then.
There's like, can you smell it? And if so, how can you
Yeah,
be neutral about it?
it's not bad. All
The
right,
smell is
honestly, the
not
I
smell
think
bad.
he's
not.
on the four camp. That's a four camp. Anybody who's not vehemently against is in the four camp.
The smell is actually not too bad. I enjoy it every now and then. I walk past the fruit store and I'm like, smells great.
You think it
That's a
smells?
four camp
Oh
person.
god! Like what is like? I mean, when they finally like do some AI interface with you, they'll be like, this olfactory nerve that he has. What is wrong with it? It likes
Ah, no one
durian.
plugged it in. Oh, here we go. Let's plug it in.
uh, okay.
That's my opinion.
I
You
yep
asked for it.
yep.
You got it.
That is
Fair enough. Perth. Is it Perth the best city in Australia or not?
The best city, evidently. I mean, Perth. The long answer is Perth is for people who like nature, who like exploring, and don't mind driving. That's my
Yeah, good
answer.
summary. I like that.
really don't like driving. Like isn't like Margaret River
No,
everything?
who likes
Oh,
driving?
who like driving? Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say you can't really get to anywhere without
Yeah, you
with
know,
with it.
you need to drive. You need to drive.
Okay. Uh, all right. Since we've kind of covered the career stuff, it's kind of like, okay, what would be.
Actually, funny story about Perth because there's a Perth competition coming up now, right? And a bunch of my Singaporean friends are heading up for the competition. And I was supposed to go with them, and I was going to be the driver, right? But now I'm no longer going because I have to stay in Singapore to compete. So they're like, Brian, send me a list of things to do, and I'm like, shit, it's all like has to do with like cars,
Step
like
one, rent a car. Step
yeah,
two.
exactly. I was like, you need to drive like you're gonna go Swan Valley, it's like an hour and a half drive away. You want to go freaking Coral Bay, it's a 17-hour drive
Yeah.
away. All
only.
right, you want to go freaking yeah. So I'm like, shit. What do you do in the city? Shop? But then it's
Uh,
like you do the same thing in Singapore.
okay, one thing that I was thinking just you've had all these community management roles in different companies, right? What would be the ideal? Like if you had to, you could wave a magic wand, and that would be. Would it be a community manager role? Would it be something different? And whatever that role is, would it be at Samsung? At what's the ideal company? I will put a little asterisk here. You can't choose the Pokemon company or TCG.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Well, it's your hobby,
What was
right?
my first choice? Sorry.
Well, it's because it's your hobby, right? Like, as in, the reason I put it as a caveat is that it's sometimes like when you put your hobby as your as the job, it becomes less enjoyable. And that was obviously going to be your answer as well. So that's why I was like, okay, let's see where it goes if we take that off the table.
Where's number two?
All right, and number two is Riot. Riot Games. So it's
Oh,
back in the gaming industry. It's back in the gaming industry. It's primarily because I mean I've been playing League of Legends since it was freaking in beta, right? So if I'm able to work at Riot, I think, and the way Riot handles community management is also really interesting. It's not a bad thing altogether, but I think they know what they're doing. They talk with the players, and that aspect of it is what interests me as well. And if you're asking what's my ideal role, it's still I think within community management because I'm still get to interact with people, still get to plan events with them. So it's not really because people always ask me like, why don't you just do like event management? Since it seems to be like something that you're good at, and I'm like, I don't mind doing that, but to me, it's I don't. If I plan the event, I don't get to meet the people at the event.
yeah, fair enough. So,
Yeah,
okay, this is a sort of segue, not a segue question, a follow up question. It's kind of like, would you like say Brian in 10 years, right? Is there
sure.
like what does the career progression look like? Is that like a thing, or like I genuinely don't know much about community management, right? So yeah, the question is
No,
like,
no, it's a great question.
yeah, because it
So,
sounds like
so
you
for
found your
me,
happy
and I'm also
place. You know?
I'm still figuring it out to be honest with you. But I think what's been interesting is that some of the stuff that's been happening within Samsung has broadened my perspective a bit, and I kind of see what's the natural evolution from community management. It's a post purchase experience. Right, this magic word I think has been identified by a lot of companies recently, and they realize shit. For me to keep people invested in the brand, I need to make sure that they are okay, right? And the question is, how do you do that? There's multiple ways of doing that, right? And community management is actually one of them. right? Because community management, as I said at the start of the podcast, it's all about managing the the brand's sorry, is managing the consumer's perspective of the community of the brand, right? And trying to make that connection seamless, right? So I represent the brand, and I will talk with you about certain things. But also, if I'm able to make that brand seem a bit more human, then people like yourself, right, Raffy, are like, yeah, brand's pretty cool, Samsung's pretty cool. It's like, wait, what did I just say, right? And but that's the natural thing, right? So even if you don't need to, even if let's say I don't get to meet everyone, but if I'm able to portray that aspect of it and draw people back into the brand, all right, by being a good community manager or having a good post purchase experience, well, there you go.
Yeah, I will do a little plug for Samsung here because, in terms of just like say the latest phone release, right? Like Australia had all these delays, but every time, because I've kind of done posts about Samsung, people have reached out to me and gone, "Hey, how come my phone was delayed?" And for the Australian team, like Muneeb, who is also going to be on the podcast at some point, he has taken down every single order number and chased up and followed up and figured out what's wrong or fast tracked it. I like, sure, you can't do that for every single person, but as like, Samsung member person, being able to literally talk to the head of customer service and say, hey, people are saying this. Like, I don't know, man. There's not too many companies that have such a high touch experience currently, right? Like, I don't know if that's scalable or whatnot, but right now, genuinely, hands down, this is not like I think you could get anywhere else. Just zero companies come to mind to say that you could do it this well as it is right now. And it's not to say that the experience was seamless. Like my own order got delayed by a week, but it was kind of like, yeah, I had someone to talk to, or I could speak to friends to say, hey, this is the update, and you're getting it from me, and I'm getting it from the head of customer service. Like, it's not this anonymous wall of yeah.
Well, I have to say that you're in a special position as well, yeah, Rafi. So this is not available for any other random Samsung users. So the other Samsung users, please do not assume that this is the normal. This is not the normal. First of all, you have to be a Samsung member star. Second of all, you have to have a good relationship with the customer service from Australia. So you are also in a unique situation, my friend.
Absolutely. But like, it obviously this. What I'm trying to say is like, yeah,
But there's still somebody out there who's taking the effort to do that.
Well,
somewhere.
It's not just that. It's just that as a company, right? Like the thing that I wanted to commend is the fact that there's a culture where the head of customer service on a Sunday is responding to a random guy messaging on Instagram, not even directly to him, via this second messenger, if you like, right? And is taking the time to do that. And there's something about the company culture that says, hey, that is a focus. And in terms of being like, just pick a company where you could do that, right? Like a year ago, I didn't know you, I didn't know Muneeb, we'd never met personally, right? And a year later, that's what we're about to pull off. And that's, I think, something special. I think that's something that's to be commended.
I'm glad you think like that, my friend. I'm really glad you think like that. And it's people like you, like I said, it really makes the job rewarding, right? I think we need would share a similar sentiment. And I mean, I'm not saying anything about Samsung, but I can safely say that it is the individuals that you're interacting with as well. I don't think it's fair because I don't want to paint a rosy picture for everyone, right? And I don't think like the people that you're interacting with are doing it because they want to,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's because um, we really appreciate the things that you guys have done, which is why we're willing to give our own time outside of work, outside of regular hours, so to say, to work together with you guys, and that's I think a very unique thing to do.
Yeah.
And
And
it almost creates a magical experience.
Revolutionary, some would say.
I think the dream is for us to be able to do something like that regionally or even globally, right? But I unfortunately can't say that it's at that level for everyone right now.
But I just wanted to highlight that the index case for that level of service exists in the company right now, and that I've not experienced anywhere else.
That's good. That's good.
Alrighty. Now to just close it all out, any sort of actually the one question I really liked from our last interview that I'm going to use again, which was if you had to pick 3 items or things to put into a time capsule for the next 100 years to represent the current state of the world or anything that you find interesting, what would they be?
Huh. Current state of the world or current state of my life?
Whatever you want the future, like as like the society in 100 years to kind of go. Here's a little snapshot of now, right? How would you represent that?
Uh.
And then also just
Well,
to pepper in what the next question is going to be, which is any sort of final words of wisdom for our listeners about life, career, balance, or anything of the sort. So you can answer either of those
okay.
questions in whichever direction you want.
Three things. Well, okay. The three things I'm going to put inside is more just for
Yeah.
my own personal, I guess, future me. Right, would definitely be a Pokemon card, probably the card I used to get finalists for regionals, which is Giratina V. I would put a little. I would put the sheet that we use to track money for the Southern Islands
Okay.
because I never thought that we'd be able to have a P&L for that. It's kind of crazy.
That's awesome.
And then the last thing that I would put is probably a picture of probably a picture of all my pets with my wife. Yeah, because to me, I think we are in quite a happy spot. Last year, we keep saying this, but last year was the best year that we've had in our entire life. And I'm
Congrats.
not, and it's not a exaggeration because we were able to do, we're in a very happy spot, and we were able to do the things that we wanted to do. So we traveled like I think 5 different countries. We went to 6 different concerts. We went to 2 world championships for League of Legends and Pokemon. And honestly, the year just felt like one event after the other, and we're just like, shit, if we were able to top, like, I don't think we were able to top this.
And you hosted as well,
Yeah.
right? Like it wasn't just attending; you're like hosting some of these events. Like I think you did the
Yeah,
yeah.
I did
Congratulations.
I think I casted an event for an official Pokemon event that was just absolutely crazy. Then I was of course hosting the Samsung members stars when they were here in Singapore. Got to travel for work multiple times as well. Philippines, Korea. This year's the U.S. Like honestly, I'm probably you've interviewed me in the right time because it's coming off a very very good year, and the year has continued on well for me. So yeah,
Well,
those are the three things.
there you go. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners? Any life philosophies that you can
Words
impart?
of wisdom for me, I guess, would be give me like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
think about it.
Chandra, you got any final asks or questions? Apart from like and subscribe, of course.
Click the like buttons, click the subscribe buttons, and the listen now buttons. Oh, and buy an Apple iPhone and give us a review. I mean, okay, this time we'll say Samsung.
I mean,
Okay, so my words of wisdom, right, is I think value the relationships that you have and always try to understand people beyond their face value. Because a lot of people, I think, wear a mask on nowadays and they don't actually portray who they really are. And I know I said it's my goal to find out the story behind the person, but at the same time, even if you don't want to go into that much depth, right, it's so often people often judge before they know,
Mm.
right? And I think that's a very it's important for people to understand what they're judging before they make the judgment of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was just listening to another live stream from a Pokemon actually. It was a Pokemon related live stream, and the host, the guy was saying like, so in Pokemon right now, there's a new thing called Masterclass, right? It's this new fancy catchphrase that people are using and pro players are doing, where they host a session about one deck, right? So, for example, Charizard once again, and they run like a 1 hour session with 30 seats, and they charge let's say $30 a seat, right? And when you join the session, you get to learn about the basics of the deck, what some of the common matchups, what people think, what the player themselves are thinking of adding into the deck or removing from the deck to make it a bit more relevant. And people are up in arms, basically saying, "What the frick is this?" right? It's like, why would you charge so much for something which you can do for only an hour? But the thing is, he was saying, instead of judging it, why don't you sit in it and then make a judgment of it? Because who knows what you're going to get out from that 1 hour session, right? Like, yeah, it may seem basic, but the person that is hosting the masterclass typically has a caliber and a list of championships underneath their belt. So he's the fact that he's only charging you $30 for a session, like you're saving like a one-on-one session, which is typically like 50 to 100, right? So why don't you attend the session, sit in it, use the product, and then make a judgment of it?
Fair enough. Don't judge a book by a
Yeah.
cover, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah, really is.
No, all right. Any last words from you, Chandra?
No, sounds like I will consider not plugging iPhones.
Last thing I'd like to say, Pokemon is not a children's card game. Do not only think that it's for kids. Try it yourself, and you're gonna get into a world which you never thought you were gonna explore.
But at the same time,
Sounds like an
It's a
addictive
world
world.
of
it has also given
Sounds
you.
like for any of us listeners who are also addictive people, try. Give it a try.
Yeah.
Just buy one packet.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. We just want to put in a legal statement that Randin does not endorse addictive behavior or gambling, but so do your own research. And yeah, that's our legal disclaimer.
But you should just buy one packet.
And maybe don't listen to Chandra on everything he says. Buy one packet. Choose it by AI. With that, again, like and subscribe if you haven't, and we will link to Bryan's stuff in the show notes. And yeah, if you can, yep.
Now, I was gonna say, if you guys are gonna tune in on the podcast, I will give you guys heads up that it sounds very Singaporean, and you have to get used to the accent before you actually understand the podcast.
Perfect. It's authentic. That's what we're going for, the authentic Singaporean Pokemon experience. And yeah, if you haven't, for whatever reason, whoever in Kenya is listening, thank you. We're still ranking on the podcast charts in Kenya. So for all the other countries, yeah, thanks, Kenya.
Up your game,
Yeah,
people.
like and leave us a comment, especially on Apple Podcasts. They're the OG podcast charts, so it helps quite a lot. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
So, yeah.